Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Vivid Earth. Anina back with a beautiful interview today with Tarryn Inggs. She's a fellow South African from Johannesburg, the co-creator of Mission Limitless. The website is missionlimitless.org. And herself and Ben are creating these beautiful ascension guides and information and content that is so relevant in today's time as we head for this ascension window of the planet and all of us on it. But I'm going to hand over to Taran so she can tell you a bit more about what she does and what is a journey and what brought her here to what she's doing today. Welcome, Taran. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me on, Anina. Yeah, we're in Joburg and it's kind of rain off, rain on. The weather's all over the place at the moment. So excuse the cap. I was at a rescue center earlier with my daughter loving on some animals and we were close to getting drenched. So
All good.
um so my journey, if I had to kind of capsulate it, from very young, I didn't really feel like I fitted in here. Felt like I wore my heart on my skin, and I felt so much. I couldn't understand why people bullied each other. I couldn't understand why people were mean to animals. I couldn't understand why everyone just couldn't be kind, why there wasn't like these peaceful energies, why everyone couldn't get along. And I kind of started questioning from a very young age, what's real, why certain things are the way they are. And I call it like I had a superhero complex. Like I wasn't sure if it was fantasy or what it was, but I felt like I was here to change the world, to make it a better place, because I didn't really like the things that I experienced, the things that I saw. And as time went on, I continued trying to find answers. And as the journey's gone, you recognize truth by the way it feels. And, some things felt really, really off for me. And then other things lit me up. When you get your truth bumps, your body light ups, you're like, okay, this feels real. But it was always so contradictory to what everybody else was believing, feeling, the way they were living. But it never kind of stopped me. I was always searching. So from, I would say, like my early teens, I was into energy, trying Reiki, past life regression. I've done womb regression. I've done ayahuasca. I've done mushrooms. It was always a seeking journey, but I never gratefully got stuck anywhere. Where in observation, people kind of get stuck in certain things and then they don't expand further than that. It's kind of like, this is it. For me, it was always like, this is a piece of the puzzle. And I kind of knew I was looking for home, if I can put that, where you almost feel like, okay, the search is over. Like I feel I found whole truth. And I knew I would recognize that by the way I felt. And as most of us on this journey realize, that we keep seeking externally to find the truth, that all the answers and the love we're seeking and the validation we're seeking and the approval we are seeking is always from ourselves. And the self-love disciplines that we share is the kind of essence of what transformed everything for me. It really made me feel like I found the truth, the answers. I mean, there's no external savior. We're here to save ourselves. We all God with God. We aspects of source. So it's basically recognizing our own value, our own power, our own self-worth, made in the likeness of prime source creator. We are as powerful and we are manifest as we are creative. And when that realization came in and I started applying the tools that we share into my own life, it transformed everything. And it's very difficult. Like the things are very simple to do. Like they're simple things, but it is the hardest for people to do. I'm busy working with a guy here in South Africa, and we're talking about the I'm affirmations, and he hasn't gotten to the point yet where he can actually even look at himself in the mirror. And I remember, when somebody said to me 5 or 6 years ago, have you ever looked in the mirror and said, I love you to yourself? And I was like, no. And they were like, well, I feel it's time that you do that. And I stood in front of the mirror, I locked myself in the bathroom. And I feel it was give or take 45 minutes before I could actually make that eye contact and actually say it. It was like, the ego comes up and it's like, I'm not going to do this, and, there's a lot of, sorry to sway subjects here, there's a lot of misinformation on what the ego is. There's a lot of talk out there where you can integrate it, or it's your friend, or it keeps you alive, all that kind of stuff. The ego is the disease, it's the program on the planet. It's made to keep us in fear, pain, and suffering. It actually is the mind. So the brain is a divine organ, and so is the heart. So we're healing the brain-heart connection. The mind is a program that's running in the mind, and the mind the ego can only live in the past or in the future. It cannot exist in the present moment because it needs something to relate to. The ego starts dissolving in the present moment because it's got no relation to anything. It's totally in the unknown. And in the unknown, you have a connection to source. So, the ego prevents us from that expansion. It doesn't want us to be uncomfortable. And that's what was coming up for me. But the moment I kind of decided, okay, I'm doing this, I don't want to be in the bathroom for 2 hours. And I looked in my eyes and I said, I love you. It was like an experience where if you buy a new puppy and you've had it for a week or two and you go out for the whole entire day and you come home and this little thing is so excited to see its whole body is like wiggling, the tail's going crazy, it's knocking everything over. It was like, okay, like you finally see me, you finally acknowledge me. And it was pretty emotional, that experience, but it was something that I crave more of. And, it's been something that I've been practicing for 5 years now. I've been kind of working with the limitless material for 5 years, and it's been completely transformational. And, it's such a blessing to be able to put this stuff out there, on a website for everyone to access. There's so many subjects on, from carbon to crystalline, mastering energy. I think we've got 70 odd guides there. I've stopped counting, but there's a lot of really good information out there for people to kind of look through whatever's resonating for them. They can kind of start wherever they feel. Everyone's journey is different. We all will end up in, the same place, whatever that is purposeful for us, but everybody's journey is different. So it's just like, check it out, go and hang out there, see what resonates. And yeah, it's all there as much as we've been able to put out. So yeah.
And it's incredible, all this material, and all of it is free. People can download the PDFs, they can print it out, put it in booklet form, affirmations that you can say every day. It really is incredible, the work that you guys do. And I think, when you read it, it's just so clear, and as you said, whole truth, you recognize it, and there's nothing more you can say. It's like your brain just slows down and says, okay, well, this is it. There's nothing to analyze, there's nothing to unpack. It is simple if you really read it and absorb it in the present moment and not think about the future or the past while doing it. So I really admire the work that you guys do. So Taran, I mean, you're doing amazing work right now, but what do you feel is like the rest of your mission or purpose? Or is there something that is something that you do right now? Is this, do you feel like it's part of a bigger purpose, a bigger mission? Where do you feel this is all going for you personally?
So I had a number of different businesses when COVID hit. I had a bottled water company, I was an interior designer, I had a health and wellness business, and things were going pretty well. And kind of before that, I was kind of questioning why I'm here. Like there wasn't really this aha, I hadn't kind of found my destiny, hadn't kind of found why I'm here. And during that COVID time, I mean, corporate companies, event companies, and restaurants were hit the hardest, and that was basically my client. So those businesses weren't sustainable over that time, and I was forced to reintroduce myself. Well, reinvent myself, should I say. And since very young, I've had the energy, if I can use that word, where people would come and talk to me and tell me things they've never told anyone in their life. I'd be that safe space, that go-to person, and like they've never been able to share anything with anyone before, but they felt safe speaking to me. And when the whole COVID agenda came in, I could see through all the BS. And I was like, okay, like my soul was like, I know why I'm here now. And, started going live on social media every day, speaking about the self-love discipline, speaking about, what, don't do what they're pushing you to do. This is the truth. I never sanitized. I never wore a mask. I fought with everybody everywhere I went. I mean, it was quite a stressful time having to stand in that truth of, you know what I mean, what you're aware of. But it was kind of what had been presently one of my gifts my whole life, was something that I was almost forced into during that COVID space.
Like a lot of
And
us, I think
that
it
of
jolted
sorry.
us awake during COVID, and many of us were just jolted awake, and we were forced to down tools and just rethink what we're actually doing here, right? So it
Yeah.
was in a strange way just a beautiful period of waking up and stepping into your authenticity no matter what, because with business and all of that being affected, it's kind of like forcing your ego into the corner as well, isn't it? Like you've got to humble yourself and reinvent yourself and decide what it is. And at the same time, it's like there's something much bigger at play here. um I can see it, I can see through it. And what is my purpose? Because I can't seem to let this go. Everyone else is just like maybe carrying on and watching movies all day, but some of us just couldn't, and we were forced to kind of step into authenticity and truth. And
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, sorry, I just interrupted you.
No. It is. I mean, when you also realized what was at play and what was at risk, you know, it, yeah, it was kind of battleground. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah.
armor
You've
on.
got to join this battle because it
Yeah,
is a spiritual battle for our soul. And I think many of us knew how serious this was. We either had to join the fight or, you know,
yeah. And I've never really been
there's no
about
other option.
I've always been one that would fight for the underdog. I've always been one that would stand up for what's right. So I did have a giggle though, because in my previous journeys before that, with past life regression and things like that, we were named witches, but we were actually healers, and we were either burnt at the stake or we were beheaded or whatever. And I had visions of those experiences, and I laughed, and I was like, in every one of those lifetimes they tried to shut me up, but I came back and nothing's changed. You know what I mean? My kind of soul is always going to be that determined, true speaker, get the job done finally on this timeline in this lifetime, after many attempts to what I feel is part of, what we're trying to achieve this time.
This time we're not keeping quiet, right?
No, no.
This is
And there's
like the
enough of
end
us
game.
now. So that was kind of the last 4 years where there was a lot of kind of online intuitive counseling sessions. I don't like the word coaching really, because it comes with a codependent kind of flavor on it. I like to empower and inspire people. I would say to people like maximum 3 sessions, but you tooled up. Like all the guides that we were giving on the website now would be something that people would receive, you know, with their sessions. And it was like, you have the tools, you know. So if you feeling anxious, if you're feeling this, you're feeling stressed, you have the tools in your kit to use as you need to. You know, you don't need me. I fell into the trap on my journey of becoming codependent with spiritual coaches. And I think in a way it is intentional from their side, because it's nice to have, you know, a guaranteed couple of $100 for a few sessions. It's almost like I felt that was like, you know, you need me or I'm your healer, and I'm not. You know, I'm just the messenger. And I love to see people empowered, you know, people thriving, people overcoming, you know, so many things in their space that were challenging them. And from there, kind of, I moved on to more of the deeper healing space, where I was working with I have been working with PMF, so pulse electromagnetic frequencies, for the last 3 years. A
Just
friend of mine.
sorry, just repeat that. What is it called?
So PEMF, which is pulse electromagnetic frequency. So it's basically like the RIFE technology. A friend of mine I'm very close to got diagnosed with the brain tumor in 2013. And very similar to me, doesn't do pharmaceuticals or doctors or any of that stuff, was very much understood energy. And he created his own form of RIFE machine with a combination of RIFE and skewer. And within a period of 3 years, he healed himself of his brain tumor, also changed his diet. He's also created a tea, which is very much an immune boosting, gut cleansing tea. So in combination with that, over 3 years, he healed himself. And because so many people got to participate and witness his journey, they asked him if he could create a machine that they could use for different things, which he did. And he made it very cost effective, which I love, because many people who need this medical device can't always afford it.
Yeah.
And he made it battery operated, small and mobile, and also very cost effective. And because of the speed of the sun and square wave that he put in, it's actually more powerful or more effective than a lot of other machines on the market. So I've moved a couple hundred of them around the world over the last 3 years. I still have them. It's an amazing machine. I mean, I work with horses too. We'll get into that. But I was working with a horse the other day that was really hurt. And I was rubbing his fur, just saying, sorry, my boy. Like, he got cut all over the place. He got caught in a fence. And he was really enjoying the cuddles. And they don't realize how strong they are. So he like moved his head, but like really smashed my wrist into the stable door. And I was like, okay. I was concerned it may be broken. It swelled up about 4 times the size, and I couldn't really move it. And I was like, okay. Anyway, I got home, soaked it in Epsom salts and bicarb, and then put some peppermint oil with castor oil on, put it in a bandage, and then I programmed the Esculapis, which is the name of the machine, for bone healing, inflammation, and bone and tissue repair. And the next day, I had 0 swelling, total flexibility back in my wrist, and like probably 1/4 of the bruising that I would have had.
Wow.
So it's an amazing device to use. I mean, I use it for parasite cleansers. You can, instead of taking a whole bunch of meds and stuff, you just hit the frequencies for that. I've witnessed one lady in particular who I see on a daily basis, and she was diagnosed with severe fibromyalgia. And it's quite a tough disease to live with, what I've observed. And she was pretty much the walking dead when I met her. She was bedridden 5 days out of 7. She couldn't put weight on. She was in adult nappies because that's one of the side effects for it. She was told she'd never be able to ride horses again. If she slipped or bumped something, her muscles would seize and she would be out for a number of days.
Sure.
So I said to her, just try this machine. She was very skeptical. But after one session, she's never had another cluster headache. 3 months later, she's riding horses twice a week. She's putting on weight. She is no longer having muscle seizures. She's working 5 days a week.
Wow.
She wrote me a 5-page testimony on how this device has changed her life. So for
Wow.
me, it's an amazing thing to be part of somebody's getting their life back. And then, of course, you bring in the self-love disciplines too, because healing is multidimensional. It's not just, you can't just take a pill, you can't just sit on a machine. It's everything's energy.
Yeah, the
With the
cause is
machine,
often emotional or stuck trauma or energy in the body. So once the
yeah,
healing, physical healing has been done, you've got to do the inner healing of, that
yeah,
person's psyche.
yeah. Because otherwise it's just going to come back.
Yeah.
That issue's going to come back if you don't actually address the root cause, and it's always energetic. A dis-ease is just an unease in the body. It's just trapped energy.
Yeah.
So, and then from there, because I think I've only got 4 or 5 of those machines left, because Taran only made, I think, 700, and then that was it. And now he's gone on to invent other things.
Oh, wow.
So if anybody listening is interested, I do have, I think, 4 or 5 of these machines left, and they're only
I would love to
10,000
know
rand.
more. Sure.
It's really not to have a homeopath that you can basically program for anything. It's and people that have got it have said to me, like, I'm so grateful for this. I mean, a friend of mine in Cape Town had a car accident last week, and quite a bad one. And she said to me, like, thank you for introducing me to this, because my healing otherwise would have taken so much longer. Where with this, like, she can't believe how good she's feeling already.
Wow.
So
That's
yeah.
amazing.
So from there, a lot of people, because they were experiencing this healing for themselves, said to me, can you use this on animals? And this particular machine, you can kind of do a sticky tape and chewing gum solution. Like, you can put the foot plates underneath a dog's bed and stuff like that. But because it sends off an electromagnetic pulse, animals don't always like it because they're sensitive.
Mm.
So I started researching, and I found the Cloud Mat, which is the leading PMF device from Europe. And it took me about 7 months to get it here. It's not supported in South Africa, meaning if anything happens to it, it's got to go back to Europe. But what I researched that this device was doing, I was adamant to get it here. And I got it in the beginning of May last year. And that's pretty much what I do now. So I prefer to sell the Esculapius machines because it's so cost effective. Instead of, if you book a few sessions on the machine with me, you might as well pay off a device itself. Where the cloud is a lot more expensive, but it is the leading device in the world at the moment. And I work from a wellness center in Houghton, and I treat people through the cloud. I can, if people want to buy one, I can bring them into the country too. But it heals 50 times faster. And there's kind of experiments that they've done. They don't make the claim, but when you see the cellular communication and you have no treatment, it's 50 times faster the healing. And it was interesting because 2 weeks after I got it, I was treating a lady for arthritis, and she was having a massive improvement in her knees, where she had been really struggling. And she'd recently got these 2 new dogs, German Shepherds. And I said to her, will your dogs be okay? And she said to me, oh, they'll be fine. And I went onto the property, and they attempted to rip me to pieces.
Wow.
Which wasn't fun, but I'm always looking for the gift in an experience. And I got to be my own case study. I had 8 puncture wounds between my arm and both legs.
Wow.
And within 6 days, I had no infection, no swelling, about 20% of the bruising that I would have had. And the scabs from the wounds had started coming off. And I didn't realize how profound that was until I spoke to other people who had been attacked by dogs, also not realizing how common that was. Because I thought dog attacks were so rare, never happened to me before. And then I realized every second person I was speaking to had had a dog attack of sorts before. And a lot of them said that like it took them about a month to 6 weeks to actually have the wound stop weeping and all that kind of stuff, because dog mouths are quite dirty.
Mm.
And that's when I realized the power of the device that I had in my hands, because within 6 days, it didn't really look like much had happened. And what was nice is it also helped with my PTSD, because, you know, the weeks following the incident, I would see a dog and I would kind of go into a panic attack, which would last for a couple of hours. Where now, if I see a dog or interact with a dog or anything like that, I have no fear response. Like that event doesn't even come into my
Wow.
so it works on a spiritual, physical, emotional, and mental level. What it does is it puts you into parasympathetic state within 3 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So people, dogs, horses, most of us are focused externally on something that's stressing us out. And the body innately knows how to heal itself, but it's never given that parasympathetic state to go, okay, cool, I have zero focus
It's safe.
externally. I'm going to focus
We can heal.
internally.
Yeah.
Where this gently forces your body into parasympathetic state very quickly. And that's where the rapid healing takes place.
Wow.
Same with horses, because they don't have belief systems and they're so sensitive to energy, as well as dogs. The healing is significantly fast. So it's been an amazing device to work with, and there's nobody that's ever kind of got off it that said they don't either feel more relaxed, less pain. It's just really, really awesome to be able to kind of do this work. And it leads into conversations where I can then share the limitless content, depending where people are at. You know, I used to be one of those when this first came out, you know, putting so much information out there, talking at people, because all you want to do is, you know, get them to see and all that kind of stuff. Where now I'm kind of like, only when I'm asked questions do I share. But this device does the most amazing work, that it literally opens the doors for me to reach people that I wouldn't necessarily have reached before. And
Wonderful.
kind of slowly lead them down the path, because it's energy. It's a frequency, it's an energy device. And when they feel how amazing this works, it kind of expands them to, okay, well, you know, let me find out a bit more about energy. Let me find out about that. So it's just been a beautiful kind of transition into different ways that I've been assisting people that have kind of had a knock-on effect to other things. So for me, being more actively working on the limitless stuff on a daily basis, I'm interacting more with people on a physical level, and but leading them back to the content. I mean, it's available for free for everybody, so anyone can find it. But it's awesome to have a space where the resources are there and it's timeless. And people can explore for themselves whatever they're feeling they need, you know, at that time.
Yeah. It's amazing how the two go hand in hand, enhancing one another. The physical healing with well, it's also energy, right? It's just a different form. The second device that you're talking about, you don't sell that. You only offer in-person sessions, right?
I can. I've got
Okay.
a business registered in the US and in Europe with my best friend there. So I can bring them in. It was quite something, you know, being the first one in South Africa with it. But by doing that, I've paved the way to make it a lot easier. So if anyone is interested in it, we can have a chat. And yeah,
Wonderful.
you know, it's an amazing device to have, both of them. And I work with both of them still, because what the Esculapis does is it targets something. So you program it to target parasites, target headaches, target
Okay.
signs, where the cloud mat works systemically. So it works on a very deep atomic molecular level, increases the nitric oxide levels in the body, speeds up cellular communication, reduces pain, inflammation. Yeah, you basically got 20,000 microtesla per second going through the body, activating every single molecule, cell, bone, organ, everything like that. So even if there are things in the body that someone's not aware of, each of
It
our
will
own bodies
automatically
know
harmonize,
where.
or everything that's out of harmony will just start to harmonize, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
And the main focus is it synchronizes your heartbeat with that of Mother Earth, which is obviously what we are aligning with. So it's really next gen tech, that is very aligned with the ascension process, 5D, whatever it is. Like
Yeah.
it basically assists in taking your body into that parasympathetic connected space. And yeah, where the body's an intelligent being, where it knows how to heal itself, and it's given the capacity to do that during a session. So
Mm. I'm quite interested. So it's different to Rife. You said well, the first device employs part of what Rife does, but not in its entirety. Um,
so the silent square wave is built into the technology, but Dr. Kafka, who's the leading expert in the world on PMF frequencies, is behind the cloud. So I can send you a video. It is about 40 minutes long, but the first, I'd say 15 minutes takes you into the science and technology behind it. And that's what I saw last year when I was doing my research, and I was like, this thing is like next level amazing. So I can send you that video, and then
yeah, that'll be
you can
great.
have a look.
We can maybe share that, with people if they want.
Yeah,
Um,
sure.
and what do you think of things like grounding mats? Is that something you subscribe to?
They definitely work. I also just feel if people haven't used this kind of technology before, they've got to slowly introduce it into their space. Because I have experienced people with grounding mats that have got really, really sick.
Oh, really?
Uh,
Well, I know a lot
Meaning
of them are rubbish, they make a lot of
detox.
rubbish one. Oh, detox, okay.
Yeah.
Like a
So if you've
Hertzheimer
never
effect.
really done anything like that before, and your body's holding a lot of density, and you sleep on a grounding mat the whole entire night, you may feel really poo the next day.
Mm,
If you don't hydrate enough. It's the same with the cloud and the Esculapis. Water is consciousness, but it also conducts electricity.
mm,
So the more hydrated you are, the better the healing is going to be, because you're sending frequency through your body.
yeah,
But it's also then killing off bacteria, viruses, parasites. You need to assist the body in detoxing, in flushing that out. So, there's a lot of things that play a role. For me, grounding in nature is the real deal.
yeah.
Uh,
I mean, that's first prize. I think a
yeah,
lot of people that live in cities, on the 10th floor in New York City or whatever, don't always have access to the grounding, so that may be a good tool to employ.
yeah. So that definitely works. Taran, who made the Esculapis, has also made these grounding mats that he's given me to kind of use. I guess in South Africa, it's quite easy to just pretty much walk out your front door and find a big patch of grass or something like that. So yeah, but anything that can ground your energy. And we were talking about, I think, the other day on one of your evening chats, where a lot of people, the anxiety kind of builds up within them, because we've got all this energy coming in. We've got the light codes, we've got, the solar
Mm,
flares, all this kind of stuff. We are getting bombarded with light and love.
yeah,
And it's the integration process from the light body, but the physical vessel is also trying to keep up, but it's a lot denser. So it takes a moment, and that's where the ascension symptoms, and people don't have vertigo and they feel nauseous and all that kind of stuff. But grounding will help because Mother Earth knows how to basically absorb that energy and assist you. It's like you've got to ground electricity.
Yeah,
There's
we are
thing.
electrical beings. People don't realize we've got an
Exactly.
electrical current moving through our body. It's,
Yeah,
it's like a battery, and if you don't ground that energy, it comes from the sun through us, and goes into the earth through us. And if the earth element is not there, well, then you're going to be spinning out of control pretty quickly.
and I mean, wearing shoes all the time actually makes us sick. I mean, I watched a documentary not so long ago where 15 minutes just grounding is incredibly healing for the body.
Mm.
It's like taking antioxidants in through your feet.
Yeah, I'm
Mm.
still dumbfounded that people don't realize this. I actually was watching an interview with the founder of, um, I think he's like one of the fathers of the whole grounding movement. He was actually in electronics for all his life. He's 80 now, but you'll look at him, he probably looks 60. Um, and that was just so eye-opening. I mean, I knew about grounding, but to learn more about the technical aspects of that, and his experience throughout his life, and how people were just so, no, this is nonsense. You can imagine 30 years ago, people were like, what is this? And when he was a child, and they used to wear leather shoes back in the day. So it was just part of life. You were a kid, you run out on the lawn. These days, you find kids are just wearing sneakers and whatnot, and they seldom have their feet on the ground. And the effect that this has on the body is just phenomenal. I think it's so underrated. People are like, yeah, 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 grounding, but they don't actually realize how important it is for the whole body function and to bring down inflammation, because also if you can't ground the energy, it's going to create inflammation in the body as well. So yeah, I love all these new technologies that are coming in. It's so exciting. And this is the year where all of these new technologies are going to become just much more available and open to the public.
Yeah, it is awesome. Something else where, a lot of people will experience burnouts. And burnout is
I'm one of
often from
those.
lack of hydration
Hmm.
because all the information or the downloads or everything that we're processing goes through the spinal cord. And because the water conducts electricity, if it's not having that kind of lubrication to travel, it creates a friction, which creates
Hmm.
burnout. And most of us aren't hydrated. And 8% dehydration is devastating to the body. And I mean, I come across people often now that'll tell me they've never, ever drunk water. Like they've basically lived on alcohol, coffee, Coca-Cola. I'm
Yes,
like,
I've heard people as well. It's unbelievable, actually.
um, yeah, I mean, water for me is just the
Water's
base.
life.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, I also had burnout twice, and dealt with a lot of health issues and endocrine issues and all these things. But there was a stage where I was drinking so much water. I was probably drinking 5 liters, and I always remained thirsty. There's all these like things that happen in the body that sometimes have us, it boggles our mind. If there's too much heat in the body, then you will just drink so much water, but you can't quench that fire. And so it's very complex. But I think this is the year that we're gonna learn a lot more about natural healing, healing technologies that have been suppressed. um, and we need to understand our own bodies. We need to start understanding if something is out of harmony. What are the symptoms? What does it indicate? How do we remedy it naturally? Maybe it's too much screen time. I've had a lot of that where actually the heat goes into my body from these devices, and I became very sensitive to EMF and blue light. And I just actually, on that topic, I cannot wait for the frequencies to change that they employ in communication and cell towers and Wi-Fi. The truth is they don't have to use those frequencies. It's like a radio. You can tune it on any frequency you want. Why do they choose those low frequencies that are so harmful for human beings? One has to ask why they chose those frequencies. Why did they choose the blue light for the screens? They didn't have to. but there's a big sort of
Powerful,
sinister plan
intelligent
behind that.
being can't be controlled and manipulated. They don't want us recognizing our power. It's all been constructed to dumb us down, to control us, to make us sick, because it feeds their
Yeah,
system.
yeah,
You know, and on the water, I studied water for 4 years before I started my bottled water company. And, you know, we often think, oh, well, you know, this water's been treated through reverse osmosis. That's good. Reverse osmosis removes all the good and the bad from the water.
exactly.
Like drinking reverse osmosis, and it isn't mineralized. When you
Yeah.
drink it, it actually strips all the minerals out of your body, the potassium, the calcium.
Mm.
So you think you're drinking good water, but what you're actually doing is it's leaching that out of your body. And then because water requires that in a natural form, you then expel that. So you're actually not doing your body any favors.
Yeah.
So such a lack of information. And because it's a really cheap way to treat water,
Mm.
pumped out there, you know, come get your reverse osmosis water, but it's not healthy to drink. You know, I've also been working with crystals for a number of years, and there's a lady called Little Grandmother. She was born in the Rocky Mountains, and she now lives in Amsterdam. And I was very blessed to meet her. Sure, when was it? 2018, I think. And I went to her talk, and she normally talks to thousands of people. And I was at a small event, and there were 45 people, and I got to really connect with her. And she travels around the world going to ley lines and doing crystal ceremonies. I mean, she was initiated as a shaman, and you know, crystals are the highest vibrational solid item. It's not that they're solid on the planet. I mean, they're very powerful tools. And she was sharing with me what they did once was they went to Fukushima, and she wants to demonstrate the power of the transformation that crystals can do. So this guy in his moon suit or whatever goes into the water source at Fukushima and takes out a bowl of water, and they test it, and the radiation is off the charts. And she has a quartz crystal. She puts intention with it, and she puts it into this bowl of water, and within 2 minutes, the water was clean enough that you can drink. There was zero radiation in it.
Oh,
Obviously, she believes, you know what I mean? Because our belief systems will determine
yeah.
our reality, our healing potential, our power, all that kind of stuff. And you know, I was always into, you know, good water filtration systems and all that kind of stuff. Now I use crystals, rose quartz, or whatever the story is, to cleanse them, put them at my heart, put intentions of healing, cleansing the water, all that kind of stuff, put in my jug of water. And solid crystals communicate with liquid crystal. Every drop of water's got a liquid crystal in it. So I've done a number of water ceremonies where you put intention into a crystal and you throw it into a body of water, and you can literally see the fish responding. I mean, I've done it in the ocean. I was actually in Cape Town a few years ago, and I think I put 18 crystals into the ocean in a certain bay within a period of 4 days or something like that when I was there. And about 2 or 3 days after I left, a friend of mine sent me a video, and he said to me, Taran, I can't believe the amount of whales and dolphins and seals that are coming into this bay. They could obviously feel the frequency of it. And it's just like, we don't understand the power that we have in these things. You know, some people they just stones or whatever the story is. I also, using the cloud, I do remote healing sessions with crystals. So I connect with, I mean, I've done a number of them with friends in the USA, in Canada, where I basically have them at, set an intention. They play music that side, I play music this side, and I ask the crystal to be the bridge. There is no separation. Separation is an illusion. So I just connect with their energy, and yeah, I've had amazing responses in those sessions where they've gone for other healing treatments and they haven't felt the same effect as they have with a remote cloud session. So I've experimented with all these kind of things. I did ask some people to be test dummies for me because I was like, why can't I do this? And that's what I love about Limitless, because we really are limitless.
Yeah.
And yeah, belief systems that will prevent us from doing anything we want to do.
Mm.
And yeah, I mean, it's working amazingly, and it gives me more reach to assist more people. And I'm not the healer, you know what I mean? I hold the space, the crystals do the work, I call in their guides and the angels, and I'm like, they've given you permission to now assist them. So, and people's experiences have been really amazing. So it's just, I'm always pushing the boundaries. I'm also always looking at ways to expand. But it's really getting the bad thing.
Yeah, that's incredible because, crystals actually have the ability to hold information. So with your intention and what you want to do, the crystal being that bridge, as you said, that tool to deliver the information that you've put into it to the other person. Yeah, that's basically what it is. But I think, we have to remember we actually the ones doing the healing. The crystal is the tool that allows us to transport that energy or that intention to the other person. And that's incredible. I think this year also we're going to start discovering our own healing abilities. I hope, so that people can stop giving their power away. And obviously it's a journey, it's a process. It's not going to be like, oh, there it is. You've got to work on it. You've got to practice. You've got to work on yourself so that you can become that conduit for healing. But it's pretty exciting what we can do if we put our minds to it.
Yep.
So the water is interesting because, basically, if there aren't minerals in the water, you may be drinking a lot of water, but it's just passing through your body. So it's not being absorbed in your cells. The minerals in the water is what is needed because that allows the cells to open up as soon as it comes in contact. That's why things like Celtic salt is so good, because you take a grain of Celtic salt as you take a sip of water, the salt just poof, allows the cells to open up and the water can actually be absorbed into the cells.
Yeah.
The minerals are the
It
key
increases
to hydration. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it is kind of frustrating to see all these filtration um, um, systems that we've been sold over the years, and people think they drink really clean water, but it's just been stripped from anything that's good, because again, water is the vehicle, that brings these minerals into our system. Well, that's the way it was designed. So yeah, interesting to chat about what you use to kind of clean your water. We also have borehole water here, which actually I did have tested, and it's pretty good. It's like above all acceptable standards in terms of, there's no bacteria in there or anything like that, and plenty of minerals.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I'm
Well,
still,
it's holding it, so it's
yeah,
a lot cleaner than going through the pipes that haven't been maintained for a number of years.
yeah. And what about charcoal? Do you think charcoal is a good thing to put into water, like
Yeah.
those charcoal sticks?
Yeah. I can't remember what they're called, but there's those charcoal like little tablets.
Yeah, you've got the small
Get
ones and then the
those.
bigger ones for
Yeah.
bigger.
So I also put those, like I fill up a 5 liter and I put like different crystals. I mean, for me, there's no rules. I just trust my feelings. And often when I work with people and I've got a whole lot of crystals and I'm like, okay, who wants to work with Chris, for example? And I almost like one of them says me. And I'm like, okay, like you're going to work with Chris on the other side of the world. And, the experience that I get fed back is amazing. And there's certain crystals for certain things, and I don't really follow that. It's like it's just
It's
a
more
feeling.
intuitive.
Yeah, yeah. And I might put I mean I love citrine. I love yellow, so citrine's always in there. Carnelian and I love, which is, abundance and all that kind of stuff. And then a rose quartz for heart and love, and 3 or 4 crystals in the water with a piece of charcoal. And just cleanse them, put them at your heart and bless them and pop them in the water and just trust that. I mean, I just basically say anything that is not intended for my highest good is removed and replaced with highest life and blessing and nurturing and healing to my body. And that's it. It doesn't need to be this whole wah 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 story. You know what I mean? Simple is good. Like, and yeah, it's just water tastes delicious, like feel good. I think I said the other day, like I'm singing those I'm affirmations in the car, and it's become my new favorite thing. Because all the stuff that goes on, you have these thought loops that come in and these doubts, and especially when you're in a crowd of people that are not kind of the same consciousness, and you start thinking like, am I actually not? And I don't have any of that come in. It's like just good stuff. And even when I'm busy doing something else, it's like those mantras are kind of what's going through my head, and it's made a big difference. So not just saying in the mirror, but basically saying them in my drive time to appointments or whatever the story is.
And people can do their own, they can put their own together, and that can evolve over time as well. I think these guys are a great starting point to help people that have never done that before. Just read the affirmations, the I am affirmations every morning in the mirror, and start with that.
Yeah.
And I just kind of do my own as well. I just made up my own little rhyme, and that's what I use in the mornings, and it's really what we make of it. What else, Taran, would you say, would you advise people? What are these daily habits that we can do to keep a healthy life and to keep growing spiritually and evolving? What are the sort of the daily habits that you think are, from your point of view, good?
So gratitude's a very important one. I mean, I get up in the morning and I mean, the sun comes up that side and I go into the outside, even if it's dewy or it's been raining. I mean, I love that feeling of ice cold grass under my feet. Like it's so rejuvenating. So I stand there and ground and I stare at the sun. And when you can sun gaze and as your eyes want to close, if you can keep them open, it's incredible what visions you can get from the sun. And I mean, often you can literally see that rainbow light almost coming in through consciousness. Because sometimes you say to people, what's this? Oh, it's space, it's nothing. No, this is consciousness. This is where we manifest from. And you can actually see those sun codes literally touching your skin. It's really good at dissolving ego. It's good for eyesight. It's good for so many things, sun gazing. And just breathing, just conscious breathing. Deep breath in, hold it, breathe out. So in through the nose, out through the mouth. Calms your nervous system. It gets you into a centered place. And I really feel to be intentional about setting up the energy. I'm going to have an amazing day. Everything's going to turn out for the highest good. And being very precise energetically. Because we manifest through our throat chakra. What we speak, and that's why I am affirmations. I am as our God self. Anything you say after that, you become. So I'm like, why would you want to say, I am sick, or I am broke, or I am all of these kind of things, if you don't want to be that? I'm worthy, I am abundant, I'm thriving is much more high vibrational, makes you feel so much better than perpetuating the I am statements that you don't want. And, it's like speak life, speak energy, speak positivity into your space. But just amazing how I come across people who are so wanting to own their suffering.
They're so identified with it.
Yeah. And it's quite something to work with people like that to get them to break out of that. But I'm tenacious and keep sharing the message because I feel deep down everybody just wants that inner peace. just wants to feel joy. We just not familiar with it because the system's created this fear, pain, and suffering illusion.
Yeah.
And, not having that, which is where we're going, seems too good to be true. And I feel a lot of people are almost too afraid to believe it, to be left with disappointment. But it's where I live. I live in that magical, endless possibility, life is amazing space. Yes, I have my days where, stuff comes up and I'm crying and I'm whatever. But majority of the time, that's the magical space that I live in.
Yeah.
And then the external world responds to that because we project from the inside,
Yeah.
so within, so without. Go within or go without. You know what I mean? There's nothing external that's going to give you what we fundamentally need to give ourselves.
Yeah.
And
They say you only need to hold a thought for 17 seconds before it starts manifesting. So
yeah,
you're literally calling in the energies to you. Your resonance will give you, your inner world will resonate and give you the outer circumstances. And, so many people just think they're victims of their circumstances and, there's no other way and this is all being done to them. And, that sense of victimhood and becoming sovereign to say, no, actually, I'm not a victim. I am in charge of my own life. I take self-responsibility fully from here on. And I determine what happens to me, not anyone else, because we all have that power. We don't think we do, but we do.
yeah. And then it becomes fun.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that 15 minutes of self-love every morning, grounding, just connecting with the trees, connecting with the birds, breathing. I mean, if you can stay in that space of appreciation for 15 minutes, that's a lot of 17 seconds.
Yeah.
And the more you focus on what you're grateful for, the more you attract experiences to be grateful for.
Yeah.
But the more time you spend complaining, the more you will attract experiences to complain about.
Yeah.
That's just how energy works. It's not personal.
Yeah.
The universe is, well, you're focusing there, so clearly you want more of that, so I'm going to give you more of that. It loves you unconditionally. It's going to give you what you focusing on. And that's where I always say to people, like, focus on what you do want to experience. There's a lot of stuff going on in the planet, and I mean, with the fires and the backstory, whatever, like, it's the same as COVID. It had a dark agenda, but also the opposite happened. So many people
Mm-hmm.
woke up. The same thing. The fires are cleansing, but it also had a dark agenda if they were wanting to hide anything. Like, I don't try and get into my head.
Mm.
My intention is to live it from my heart as much as possible. The mind doesn't serve us. The mind wants to analyze and it keeps us out of the present moment. So for me, it's like I just send love into that space. And I know whatever's happening right now is essentially for our highest good.
Yeah.
And I trust it. But I
Yeah.
send healing and protection and everything like that, all the people and all the animals, and that's all we can do. The more fear we send into that space, the more we energize the fear. The more love we can send into that space, the more we neutralize the
Yeah.
fear and the more love people will feel. And it's just basically in every moment, am I choosing fear or am I choosing love? It's as simple as that.
Mm. Yeah, and
Uh,
just, cultivating a sense of neutrality. Don't be pulled emotionally in this direction, that direction. Just take a step back, take that 45,000-foot view and just become a little bit more neutral and look at the situation from the out, like it's over there, not like it's you're in it. I find that helps a lot as well. And yeah, it's amazing with all the very bad things happening with this fire. If you take that 40,000-foot view, you can kind of see, as difficult as it to imagine that it is for the greater good. There is cleansing going on. I was just even thinking today, perhaps this is the end of materialism for a lot of people because they realize all of those things don't really matter. Everything they owned is burned down. But is that making me happy? No. And what is it that we strive for? We work like crazy 24/7 to build up this life with these beautiful things that we own, the property and the cars and the boats and everything. And that can just burn down in a second. And then what are you left with? Are you just an empty vessel, or have you enriched yourself to such an extent where you're not that affected with by the outside, about material things? If they go, you're fine. So there is kind of
Stuff kind of brings unity,
yeah, yeah,
because it brings out that humanitarian in people, that nurturing, that compassion, that caring. And I think when you realize that your heart's all you really have, it's a great leveler, because no matter how much of a mansion you lived in or the Porsche you drove, if it's burnt, it doesn't matter. It's like, who am I without all that stuff?
exactly.
Yeah. And then everybody becomes really equal when you in the same kind of situation. So
Yeah,
I just trust that whatever's happening is, well, for our highest good. And it may not look like we'd like it to look, but it is the biggest event in all of creation, and it's an honor to be here
yeah,
and be aware, and holding the light for whoever needs us.
yeah. I think with a big shift like this that we are going through, there will be casualties, unfortunately. But we've also got to remember everyone has their own contract. There are no accidents. So we have to accept that somehow, the person who have suffered have somehow got that written into their life contract. It makes it easier to understand and easier to feel like we're not victims of external circumstances. Perhaps somebody wanted to experience that for a particular reason in their life, based on previous incarnations, what they did or experienced there, karma and all that things. We don't know, but I think just to keep an open mind and an open heart to all of it, through all of it. And as you said, it's the biggest event in all of creation, what our planet is going through now. We've just got to really build up our inner strength. I don't know what you want to call it, our substance, and make that place so safe and strong that we cannot be moved through any of it. That is the only thing that's going to get us through. No amount of money, no amount of security, no amount of anything. It's what we have inside of us, and how connected we are with our soul that's going to get us
Yeah.
through this.
Yep.
And not that I think it's going to be all doom and gloom. I think there's going to be beautiful moments, but throughout the shift, there will be some devastating moments, whether it's the earth that purging or it's a more sinister agenda. I think it is going to happen, and we just have to focus on what's on the other side, this beautiful 5D new earth that we're busy co-creating. That's what we need to stay focused on in every moment.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't feel anything that worked in the 3D space is going to work the same in new earth, because you can't create a new earth with the same consciousness that created the old one.
Yeah.
And I do feel it's all measured on heart intention, on purity of heart, and dissolving the ego frequencies, because the ego is a virus that was created by the system, and those frequencies aren't going to make it into new earth. So it is going to be on, service to humanity, intentions, highest good for all, and yeah, really, really being balanced, balanced harmonics with the healing the inner child, healing the masculine and the feminine. And I don't feel anyone's going to have a free pass without really having to look at themselves and do the healing. Like, you can't buy your way out of this.
Exactly.
You know,
There's no
if you
shortcuts.
throw 100 million rand or whatever at XRP, it ain't
Mm,
gonna
exactly.
bypass you from, having to really look at yourself. And I still feel how the quantum financial system is going to work is on heart frequency. It's going to work on, because the QFS is a galactic being of God consciousness. You can see your past timelines, your future timelines, and your heart intention. So I don't feel it's going to honor people with the abundance to do what they'd like to do unless their heart is pure.
Yeah.
So I don't feel anything is gonna work in any 3D pass way. Than my feeling, but it wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't make sense that someone who is super wealthy in 3D land with no inner work done, investing in huge amounts of whatever that's supposed to be real and new earth, and all of a sudden having all this wealth without going through a reckoning with their soul moments. I don't feel. And a lot of people still treat money as their God, and money is not even real.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're going to
Abundance.
realize they spent all this money and energy on, well, all this energy, because that's really the only currency that we have, on investing in this and making this profit. And they're going to get to the other side and think, why did I waste my time on something that's completely meaningless? That I can't even use it on the other side. It's about, have you done the inner work? What if I used all of that time and energy on developing my own inner world, meditating, going into stillness? So makes you think. They say the meek shall inherit the earth. And yeah, the meek are the ones that have put their egos in their back pocket, right? It's the one that they don't need to shout, they don't need to be someone, they don't need to prove themselves, they don't need to be the best, they don't need to compete. Those are the meek. And because this new earth will be based on a whole new currency and energy. And like you say, we can't take the old energy into new earth. It just doesn't work anymore. So interesting times.
Very exciting.
Yeah, very exciting. Ah, what a time to be alive. We came for this moment, and we have to remember we came for this. So don't get distracted by the things that are. There's so many things distracting us at the moment, and we've got to just tune out, as much as possible and focus on what we want to achieve. Um, developing our own consciousness and abilities. Yeah, that was a fun discussion.
Thank you.
So, Taran, yeah, is there anything else that you want to share with us that you think is important?
I feel I've covered most of it. It's just prioritize your soul, prioritize that relationship with your higher self, because that is who we are embodying and becoming in you. And the less somebody has that connection, the more confusing going forward it's going to be. Because to navigate the coming times, we have to feel it. And that's where the higher self guides us, is through feelings. We can't think, because that's where the ego is. We have to feel through this. And you recognize truth by the way it feels. I mean, like truth bumps, goosebumps, that's your soul recognizing truth. And there's nothing more beautiful than having those, body light ups where, this is confirmation. This is, I'm on my highest path, and just being in the present moment. The past and the future don't exist. All we have is now. And this is where we manifest from. And this is where the magic happens. And when you can be in the present moment, then you are safe. Because the minute you're in the mind, you're feeding the system. You're feeding the program. You're feeding the illusion. So for me, whenever I get into stuff, I'm like, which machine do I want to feed? the love machine or the fear machine. I'm like, cut that off. I'm feeding the love machine, you know, and that's the easiest way is to get into the present moment of now. And just, you know, something to share that's helped me over the process and it's got easier for me is when fears come up, and we all worry about things at sometimes, the present moment, is anything wrong? No, like my family's safe. I got food in my car, I got a roof over my head, whatever, you know, it's like bring yourself into the present moment of now. There is nothing to worry about. You know, like all these thoughts of possibilities. And when I look back, 90% of the things I worried about never happened. So why worry? It's a total waste of energy. I'd rather use energy to grow and manifest and be creative and all those kind of things. So just kind of that reality check sometimes where right now, is there anything to worry about? No. So what am I doing? You know, it's something that's really helped me over the years where I was really practicing being in the present moment, and it was a foreign thing for me. It really, really helped. Just kind of go, okay, hello, like let's get real here, and real is the present moment of now. That is the only thing that is real. So
yeah, we create this so-called future in the now moment. So what you do in the now moment will determine the so-called future, if there was one. So we're just going to worry about all the possibilities, all of the things that can potentially go wrong? No, you know, we create the future in the now moment. And if we don't worry about things, we're not fearful of things, well, they ain't going to happen. Guess what? You create your own reality. You create your own future. So, yeah, it's a difficult
well,
concept,
like
but slowly but surely we are grasping it.
I know, and it has been, you know, many lifetimes we've come back here into the same illusion, you know, into the same reality. So it's a lot of unprogramming and relearning, and you know, just to be gentle with yourself and not take life so seriously, but also like attract like. You know, the best thing is to do what brings you joy, because joy is a very high vibration, and everything that you probably desiring or wanting to experience in your life is here. But if you're vibrating here, you're going to miss it forever until you choose to, you know, let go of the baggage. And I always use the analogy of the hot air balloon. You know, you light the fire, but you got to drop the sandbags, because if you don't drop the baggage, that hot air balloon ain't going anywhere. And you want the view, and you want the freedom, and you want the space, and you want the expansion, which is there. But there's a whole lot of limiting things that you've got to let go of before you can rise in consciousness and have what you want. It doesn't work the other way around.
Exactly. Well said.
So,
So where can people find you, Taran? Maybe they want to book a session or anything like that. How can they find you?
maybe I can send you all my details. My email
Yes.
address is probably just one or on WhatsApp. I'm not often on my phone because I'm often in sessions, so my phone's on silent most of the time. So WhatsApp's probably the best way to communicate, or email. I do have a dedicated page on Facebook for the SQ Life Pierce with everybody around the world as a support page. Everyone shares their testimonies. I have got an Instagram page on the Cloud Mat with all the treatments I've done and all the experiences and information there. My normal Facebook page where I share a whole bunch of funny stuff, true stuff, healing stuff. It's a lucky packet there. So yeah,
Awesome.
I can maybe send you all the links to that if
Yeah,
anyone
we'll
does
put
want
all the
to.
links in the video description, so it will be down below if any of you want to get in contact. And yeah, that was an awesome discussion. Look forward to the next one.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Anina.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for watching, everyone. That was an awesome discussion. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. And I just want to put out a call for all Capetonians. We have our next New Earth Collective gathering on the 1st of February, Saturday, the 1st of February, from 2:30 to 4:30 in Hout Bay at our sanctuary, at our Mount Liu sanctuary. And we'll be having some very interesting guests, two guests. One will be Farah Weir, psychic surgeon, and Diane, an astrologer, and we're going to unpack the year of the snake, because on the 29th of January, we move into the year of the wood snake, the Lunar New Year. And I think this is going to be an incredible year of transformation. So I can't wait to discuss that with Farah and Diane. And if you're in Cape Town region or the greater Cape Town region, you're most welcome to join. It's a free event. It will be up on the website, hopefully by the time this video comes out. And you can just register there. It's free, but you do need to register. The website is vividearth.org. So it's one word, vividearth.org. I'll leave the links below. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And make sure when you do go to my website that you subscribe if you want to be kept up to date on any news and information that we put out. We don't send out newsletters very often, so you won't be spammed or bombarded, but do sign up if you feel so called, and make sure that you subscribe to this video, that you like and share. I'll put Taran's links below as well, so make sure you follow their channel if you want more of this kind of information. And make sure you subscribe on Telegram as well. That's where we share the daily truth, news, and inspiration. So that's an awesome community to join. Okay, guys. My Zoom on a Sunday evening. If you want to join the 5D community Zoom, you can also find that on my website, the details. And we do a live on Sunday evening, 7 p.m. SA Standard Time or 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you're most welcome to join. It's a very small, intimate community. It's all about the Aquarian age, building community, discussing different topics, asking questions, and developing relationships that span the globe. So that's us. Anyway, thank you so much. I'm sending you much love, and I'll speak to you soon.